Okay, hello everyone and welcome to Hate Live episode 2. That's right, it's 2014. If you remember, if you didn't see last week, we've officially taken the podcast out of beta stage. It is now in the final stage because we've got enough stuff, enough technology down pat. We've got the ability to do live calling, which I'm going to talk about how the show is going to run this time around. We got all this stuff going on that has officially pushed the podcast to the next level, and I feel I'm confident enough to say it is now out of beta and it is full speed ahead as an ongoing podcast for the year of 2014. So welcome to episode 2. Tonight is Thursday, January 23rd, 2014. Yeah, I know, I had to look at my calendar. I never remember what day it is. And we've got so many topics to talk about tonight. But of course, the one we got to talk about the most is that Justin Bieber has finally been arrested for DUI and drag racing, $2,500 bond, and he is the biggest thing trending on Twitter. Number 1 trend is to free Bieber, and number 2 trend is to deport Justin Bieber. We're not going to be talking about that. That's every other podcast on YouTube, the stupid drama queen idiots who like to talk about freaking pop culture. We're here to talk gaming. We're here to talk me, my stuff, what's been going on with me. And so we're going to have 3 segments tonight, and we're mixing it up a little bit. The first segment, as always, I'm going to be talking about current events, which there's a lot of topics I need to talk about. First of all, my internet, the ongoing problems I've had with my internet since I've lived at this condo since 2009. I'm going to outline an entire story for you guys so you understand the pain that I'm going through with these internet problems and the fact that when I can't live stream and when I can't upload videos for you guys, why and what's going on with my internet service provider. That's going to be one story we're going to talk. We're going to talk about all the stuff I've been working on this week with gaming, all the gameplay I've been doing, what my plans are for the next week. We're going to talk about current events. And the biggest current event in gaming this week was, oh no, the big controversy that somehow it became public that there was this campaign a couple weeks ago that Machinima and Microsoft had a deal that Machinima partners could play Xbox One games and make extra money doing it. But there was this some clandestine part of the agreement saying that basically they had to hide this program from public knowledge. Which, by the way, later on was proven to be untrue or at least a misunderstanding. But there's also this clause in there that you have to talk positively about the Xbox One no matter what. To which is like, wait a minute, isn't that like kind of being dishonest? So there's a big controversy about that. But then after that came out, all of a sudden a new one came out saying, EA's been doing this for years. And by the way, they're paying way more than Microsoft is. That EA games are being basically getting their asses kissed. And it's funny because I revealed that a year and a half ago, but no one listened to me. But it's been going on forever, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So that's going to be segment 1. Segment 2 is going to be back in the day, and today's back in the day is a little different. I know last week we said we might talk about the history of fighting games continuing. We're not. I scrapped that because my internet's been so bad, I had no clue if my internet was going to work tonight, and I would be able to live stream. Well, it just so happens that as of for now it is, but I didn't have any time to plan on what to do for back in the day because I was busy, trying to get the internet to work. So tonight's going to be about gaming peripherals. We're going to go way back, okay, to the roots of my gaming history, to the original game peripheral that I used, and then all the different peripherals that I used over the years with my gaming consoles. And we're talking NES, Super NES, Genesis, into the days of the PlayStation, into the days of everything that had a freaking light gun over the years, and then of course leading finally into modern times where really the peripherals are almost going away. It's become the Kinect where you don't need the peripheral anymore. Your body is the peripheral. So that's going to be the back in the day segment. I think it'll be an interesting one for you. And then the third segment, this is the major change for this time around. As long as the internet holds up and the stream is still working, I'm going to be taking Skype callers for the third segment. It'll be the call-in segment. Now, we used to do a live Q&A segment where I would take questions from the stream chat and a stream raffle. We're kind of trying to phase that out if we can. So if the internet's still working, I'm going to be taking Skype callers. Now, if this doesn't work out, if I get bad calls, if the calls are dropping and they sound horrible, or we're not getting any interesting topics to be discussed, then maybe in the future we'll mix it up. We'll do some Skype calls and some Q&A. But right now, I just want to do Skype calls this episode and see how it works out, okay? So first and foremost, before we even get into anything, the first topic that I want to discuss, because it needs to be talked about and it needs to be get out of the way right now, up front, is the internet. My internet and how screwed up it's been since I moved into this condo in 2009. Now, allow me to explain, because things evolved and changed since I moved in. And when I moved here in the summer of 2009, okay? Today is obviously January 2014, so you see my perspective here. I've been here for what? Over 4 years now, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah. Just under 5 years, actually, about 4.5 years. And when I moved in here, I moved in, and I immediately noticed something. I noticed that when I played fighting games online, that my connections didn't seem to be as good as when I was playing those games at my parents' house, which is one city over. I noticed that it seemed a little bit slower. But everything else that I played online, like first-person shooter games, and everything else seemed fine. Now, full disclosure, my internet service provider is Cablevision, and they branded their internet service Optimum, or Optimum Online. I call them Optimum for short, because that's really what everyone calls them, okay? And I live in a condo facility where I don't own anything outside of what you see here in the video. You know, this unit. I don't own the backyard. I don't own the basement. I don't own the sidewalk outside. So I have no legal right to dictate if I want to have, say, for example, something done in the basement or something done to the roof or anything like that. And unfortunately, there is the condo association who's responsible for all those other areas that I don't own. And they have dictated that in this condo, you may not have any internet besides Optimum Online, period. Now, there's one exception. If you want to get like really slow DSL service, so we're talking like a major downgrade from the normal speeds that a lot of people are used to now, I can get a DSL service because that's non-intrusive. They could probably run a line through a wall or something here easily and give me that internet. But if you want to upgrade your internet to something like, let's say I wanted to get Verizon Fios, or I wanted to get AT&T, I forget what it's called. They have, their own. Everyone has their own broadband internet now. I couldn't get it. I'm basically denied. The condo association says, no, we only want Optimum. That way there's one company servicing the basement. That's it. We don't have to worry about everyone down there every other day. We don't want anyone going down there. Therefore, that's it. And that's set in stone. So I'm a prisoner of having Optimum or Optimum Online under Cablevision. I'm not allowed to have any other internet service. Now, for years, since 2009, my internet has pretty much, I'd say about 85 to 90% of the time worked fine. I was able to upload videos to YouTube. I didn't really have many problems in that regard. And I would say up until last year, even though there were some exceptions, I believe it was 2012, early 2012, in the first half of 2012, I had major problems where for days on end, videos would take, it's only going to take 3,000 minutes for that 5-minute video to upload. What? Something's wrong here. And we had multiple people come out here to this condo in 2012. They changed out my modem. They changed out all the wiring in the place. They tested everything. Well, we can't figure out what the problem is. They would leave, then all of a sudden the problem would go away, and because the problem went away temporarily, no one would ever follow up on the problem and find out what the problem was with the internet. Now, the thing was, before 2013, I was all about just uploading videos to YouTube, and that was it. So maybe for one day, oh no, I can't upload to YouTube, but then when it came back, I would be fine. Well, last year, as you guys know, I changed my business model. I don't just upload videos to YouTube anymore. I use direct capture equipment, direct capture technology, and I now live stream on a daily basis. Obviously, this podcast is being live streamed over Twitch TV right now. And what's happened is I've realized a lot more. I have a lot more technical knowledge now of the internet, uploads, how it works, packets of data moving to and fro, etc. When I first started live streaming, I didn't have many problems, all right? When I first started live streaming in 2013, I started, I believe it was early March. I'd say all the way through the middle of the year. I almost didn't have any problems at all. It was like I would just be able to live stream right away. Now, my internet wasn't good enough where I could live stream and upload videos at the same time. So it would be like live stream for a few hours, then upload the videos, then live stream, then upload. And that's kind of what my schedule was. And I love live streaming, as you guys know. I love the interactive medium. I love how in certain games, if you need interaction, you guys can give me feedback. I love seeing you guys laugh when a funny thing happens in a game live, the first time anyone's seen it or reacted to it, and being a part of that. I love shows like this where now I can do live callers and stuff, and live podcasts. I love live streaming. I've in 1 year, not even a year on Twitch, I've gotten a tremendous amount of viewers, a tremendous amount of people to follow me. I've got subs that I'm building up. It's great. It's great. Okay? I got nothing negative really to say about Twitch. Twitch is awesome, except for the fact that every once in a while their site crashes or something doesn't work, but they usually get on the ball and things get fixed. But unfortunately, about the middle of 2013, something happened. And I thought it was going to be a positive, but I'm going to have to unfortunately say overall it's been a negative. Here's what happened. Optimum Online upgraded their network. Now, they call it an upgrade, but if you actually knew what was going on with the network, which I'm going to reveal to you now, you probably wouldn't call it an upgrade. Here's what they did. They said, we're going to go all digital because we want to be able to compete with someone like Verizon Fios. We want to have speeds comparable to what Verizon can provide, and we need to be top of the game in this area. So what we want to do is have the competitive advantage. So we're going to upgrade all of our internet to this new all-digital level. What they failed to do when they did this was actually check to see if everything was a closed circuit. Now, let me explain. I don't know how much you guys know about electricity. I'm not going to get too technical for you. But if you have an electrical path, it needs to be a closed circuit for it to work, okay? If all of a sudden one of the wires splits off, you have an unclosed circuit, you can have major problems. Feedback issues, feedback loops, loss of data packets, loss of all kinds of stuff. And what Optimum Online failed to do was go through the state of Connecticut and find those loose wires, so to speak. Sometimes it actually was a loose wire. Sometimes it was just outdated equipment. But basically, throughout the state of Connecticut, they found, oh shit, there's a tremendous amount of signal loss everywhere in Connecticut. So they flipped the switch, trying to upgrade the speeds of everyone who had the capability to do it. And all of a sudden, people were going down. The internet was a nightmare. People were saying, we're going to have to deactivate this street because there's so much signal loss on this street. We got to go house to house, search the wires on every house to find where the signal loss is and patch it up. This has been an ongoing process with Optimum Online for the past year, half a year. And they don't talk about it a lot publicly, but I can tell you right now, the last tech that was here to help me out basically told me the whole story and said what a joke it is that they jumped the gun before they were ready to do anything, all right? So since that time that they went all digital, unfortunately what's been happening with my internet is that I am now having intermittent upload problems. So there may be a day where I wake up, I go on my first stream, it's perfect. I upload videos, I go on my second stream, it's perfect. I'm done, I upload everything, we're done. Good day, no problems at all. And it could last for upwards of weeks. Then all of a sudden, one day I'll go to live stream, and it won't work. It'll say if your frame rate's dropping, the stream will go offline and online and offline and online. I'll go to upload a video, it'll say it's going to take 400 minutes to upload this 2-minute long video. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And through repeated testing of myself running there's this website, speedtest.net, that you can use to test your upload and download speed. You yourself can use it right now and run it and see what is your upload and download speed with your current internet service provider. I've used that. I've used the actual Xsplit program, has a thing you can run that shows you at a moment's notice, okay, you're trying to stream at 2,000 kilobytes. Uh-oh, only 100 kilobytes made it through. Uh-oh, only 400 kilobytes made it through. And it's showing you the failure rates there of your uploads, all right? So what I've seen after experimenting with my internet this year, there is some kind of an ongoing issue, and it's not within my unit at all, because right now at this point, my modem is new, my router is new, every single Ethernet and cable line going through this unit is new, even the line going from my main line into the basement is new. There's no way that anything in this condo unit could be affecting my internet, all right? It's one of two things that's majorly affecting my internet. It's either equipment in the basement, and I would even go as far to say, knowing that all these problems that Optimum Online has had going all digital this past year, there's probably a signal leak in the basement that was never tested and never fixed, okay? Or there's something with the lines on my street right here, these major lines. Now keep in mind, just in this one building, there's over 100 tenants, over 100 cable lines, under 100 things of internet, all going into that one line out there on the street. There's major potential that something's wrong out there on the street, okay? Now, here's the process you have to go through with Optimum Online if you have an issue. You have to call their number. Actually, I take it back. There's 3 ways to contact them. Call them on the phone, sit on hold, wait to talk to a customer service rep. The service rep knows nothing about the internet. They'd have to then direct you to their tech department. The tech department will then run tests. Oh, you're absolutely right. I see that there's something wrong with your internet. The signal's not correct. I'm going to have a tech come out there to look at your internet, okay? So that's one process. Another process is you can go to the website and there's a live chat feature, which is very much the same. They run tests. Oh, if it doesn't work, they're going to send a tech out. Or if you complain on Twitter and you have enough of a Twitter following like I do, I have over 21,000 Twitter followers, Optimum will find you. That's right. If you're complaining about Optimum, they actually find you, start following you, and then when you're having problems with internet, their job is to actually try to contact you and get your internet issues resolved. So, for the sake of argument, I've used all three, and initially what happens is tech comes out. So tech comes out, tests everything in the unit, nothing wrong. And I say, I know, because techs have been out all year. More than three techs were here in the past year, did the same exact tests, replaced the same exact equipment, and came up with the same conclusion that there's nothing wrong with my unit. Okay? Then, it's up to the tech to go to the next level. And here's where the problems begin. The tech has no authority to say, well, it's not here, I need a higher level authority to come to the basement or service the lines outside. No. The tech now has to go, and I'm not kidding you because this happened to the poor tech that was here 2 weeks ago, on a fucking wild goose chase on his own personal cell phone trying to contact the right person. First, he's got to call the call center. Then he's got to call the dispatch. Then he's got to call the tech desk. Then he's got to call this one and that one. He has to get a special authorization code from this one. He has to call his boss to get an authorization code for that one. It's a fucking joke. It basically the actual service level of Optimum Online ends at the tech. If the tech cannot fix your problem, there's no direct path of what the tech's supposed to do to escalate the issue. So sometimes the tech, gets to notify a supervisor. The supervisor will authorize outside service. And then this is the best part. If outside service does come, they don't ever contact or notify the customer, period. They have no interaction with the customer, no way to interact with the customer, and there's no follow-up from Optimum to follow up and say, oh, did they go? Oh, let me look in the system. Yes, they did. Let me call the customer and let them know. No, nothing. You get no follow-up at all. Nothing. That's their process. That's their actual business process. So they could come and service something. How would you know? Well, if your internet's working, good. And if it's not, well, call and complain again. That's what they say. But here's the problem. So this is exactly what happened to me 2 weeks ago. Outside services supposedly came and did something. My internet worked for 6 days. Perfectly fine. On the 7th day, my internet crapped out again. And I called them, and they made me start from square one. Oh, well, do you have a problem? Let's run our testing. Oh, you're right. The testing didn't work. We got to send a tech out. I said, no, you're not sending a tech out to my unit anymore. Because the tech cannot help. The last tech that was here complained that he couldn't help me. What you need to do is find a way to bypass your bullshit process and contact the outside services and have them come check the equipment again. And I have had zero success doing that in over a week and a half. I have not been able to get that done. And it's a nightmare because right now what's happening with my internet, okay, is like I said, sometimes I can stream, sometimes I can't. There's no consistency to when I can or can't. Sometimes it's down for hours. In this case, it was actually down earlier today for only a half hour. Now I'm able to stream again. So I can't even tell you, the viewer, I can't tell you when can I work. When will Phil be streaming? When will Phil be uploading? Fuck if I know, because I can't tell you because the internet doesn't fucking work. And it's like I said, I'm a prisoner of Optimum. I cannot get any other internet service while I'm living here. So I'm literally a prisoner of a shitty internet service that doesn't listen to the customer. They just have this one process they have to follow, which starts back at square one every time the outside services does something, and it takes you weeks to get back to that step. Now, as of today, I have an update, okay? I'm supposed to get a call, and the reason I say supposed to is because I was supposed to get a call today and never did. So I contacted Optimum again. I'm supposed to get a call tomorrow regarding what they call the field services team. The field services team is who contacts the outside services team to go do the work on the lines in the basement and stuff like that. They're supposed to contact me tomorrow with an update. I can't tell you if or when I'll ever get one. I can't guarantee anyone anything will be done. And again, even if they do say, okay, they're coming out this weekend, I'll get no follow-up. I'll never know what was fixed. And I have no idea who to contact if my internet fucks up again. Optimum Online's customer service is garbage. It's a broken process. And the fact that no one in the company takes ownership of an issue is the major problem. If there was one agent who was absolutely ultimately responsible that your issue gets resolved, and you gave that agent the resources to talk to the standard customer service, to talk to the tech center, to talk to the dispatch, to talk to the outside services, then you'd have problems that got solved. But when you have a rigmarole of line level people who all they do is read a checklist, oh, step 1, test it. Oh, it failed. Step 2, send a tech out. Step 3, oh, tech didn't figure out what to do. Well, did the tech schedule outside services? No. Well, oh well, tough shit. Your issue doesn't get fixed, and they ignore you then. They literally ignore you. And that's the worst kind of process. I have a background in what's called continuous improvement. In fact, I actually have I believe it's called an associate's level certification in what's called ACE, Achieving Competitive Excellence. What you do with ACE is you do a process map, which means you look from step 1 when the customer first contacts you to the final step when the issue is resolved, and you map the process from start to finish. You measure the time frame of each step, okay? If it has to loop back, that's what you do. You measure how does it loop back, how long does it take. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take feedback from the customer. You put that on there. You're supposed to take down internal feedback on what are the biggest issues with each step and each part of the process. You're supposed to put that on there, and you're supposed to have events to fix the process. I can confirm with 100% certainty that Optimum and Cablevision have no continuous improvement, and whoever the hell is responsible for QA in their company can't tell the difference between a fucking good customer experience and their own shitty fucking asshole. All right? Because how anyone could say that Optimum is rated at high customer support when anyone who has an issue with the internet comes across the same problems, it's beyond me. All right? The process is broken. The company needs to fucking improve. It's that simple. If you're going to push a new product out to the customer, you better damn sure make sure it works. If it doesn't, you better have a customer support process set up so that if it doesn't work, they can get it fixed. Not, well, it kind of worked today, so we're going to ignore you now. We may or may not send out outside services to fix something, but we're never going to follow up with you because we don't give a damn. And that's really what it feels like. I feel like Optimum doesn't give a damn about me. And I would hope that someone, please, if you work for Optimum, all right, if you work for Cablevision, and you see this video on YouTube, forward it to them and let them understand how fucking broken their process is and how frustrating it is for me, someone who makes their living on the internet, someone who needs constant uploads all day, to work, that how frustrated I am because I like the speed of their service when it works, but it doesn't always work and no one seems to want to help or has the capability to help. That's the other thing. I've talked to so many line level people who want to help me and they can't. They don't have the power to do so. All right? And the thing that irks me the most is that daily I see local ads on TV how good Optimum is. And this is a real small business owner who's used Optimum for 10 years. Says, I never had a problem with my internet. It's great, it's fast, and it's reasonably priced, and it's not bad. And I say, well, why can't I get that level of service? You know? Just because my business is different from everyone else and it needs a lot of uploading, I'm the one that gets dicked. So because I'm the one that's avant-garde, I'm the one that does something different from the norm, I'm the one that gets fucked. And the answer is yes. Because Optimum has no kind of extenuating circumstances. They have no kind of special team who jump on and handle and take ownership of these kind of problems. All right? So who knows? Will I get a call from Optimum tomorrow? I don't fucking know. If I don't, I got to call their line level customer support, explain for the 42nd time this entire situation again. They'll go through, oh, I ran my tests. Yeah, your internet's fucked up. Oh, here's your account with 5 billion notes from every call you've made in the past year and no one ever helped you. All right, we'll start the whole process over again. And it's just like, it's utter frustration. It's utter frustration. It's a complete failure of a customer support system because there is no support for someone who doesn't have a basic issue that can be solved quickly. It's a joke, okay? So again, I urge you, if you know anyone who works for Optimum, if you work for Optimum, show them this fucking video. Here's a guy who works from home, who's made something of his hobby, all right, who's having fun doing what he loves, and who's being basically shut down from doing work and having his business shut down on a daily basis because the company won't help me, all right? Maybe now someone will fucking do something, but I don't know if they will, but maybe they will now that I've finally had to publicly come out and explain the whole situation. Maybe someone will pay attention. Who knows? All right. So enough about my internet, but I can tell you this. Hey, I've been streaming this, and for the 25 minutes the stream's been live, the internet's worked. It could go down right now, so knock on wood, but it is what it is. Up next, I'd like to talk about very briefly what I've been up to gameplay-wise and what's coming in the next few days, because there may be a small adjustment. Gameplay-wise, this week has been interesting. I finished up Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, but I accidentally forgot to upload 8 videos. If you can believe it, there were 8 videos that I thought I had uploaded and I didn't. So I thought the playthrough was done like 2 days ago, and then someone was watching it and messaged me and said, Phil, it seems like there's a huge time leap. Did you leave stuff out? And I looked it up. I said, oh, fuck, I did. So that's been corrected. Those videos are now uploaded. That playthrough is complete. If you're interested in a playthrough of Assassin's Creed HD, the portable game that was on the Vita, that was now ported for consoles, check it out, okay? I completed Blue Dragon this past week. That was good. I've continued Super Mario 3D World with John Rambo, and the videos that we've played up to now are uploaded to DSP Gaming, so we'll catch up on that playthrough now, and we will be up to date for the next time I play it with Rambo, all right? I'm continuing along with Dragon Age Origins. That playthrough is continuing. It's going to take a long time. People are saying, you're a big chunk into it, but you've still got a ways to go. So that's going to continue to go on. This week, the Dead Rising 3 DLC, Operation Broken Eagle, was released, and I played it. Unfortunately, my internet went down when I was playing it, so the live stream didn't really happen for longer than a half an hour. And it took, it took a ridiculous amount of time. That's right, it took like 8 to 10 hours for me to even upload those videos to YouTube because my internet was fucked up. So I apologize for those of you who are looking for them relatively live like I can usually do with a new DLC or a new game. But that playthrough is done and live on YouTube as well, so check that out. So what is going on right now? The big news this week when it comes to me is that after a 2-year hiatus, I have returned to Phoenix Wright Justice for All. And some of you may be saying, holy flaming fuckity what? Like, I don't even watch Phil's content anymore. I just like to watch his vlogs. And I'm watching this and you're telling me he's actually playing Phoenix Wright again. The answer is yes. I have returned to Phoenix Wright. I transferred my Wii data over to my Wii U. I ended up getting a new save file from the internet because unfortunately mine corrupted in the transfer process, if you can believe it. And as of yesterday, I resumed my playthrough with all the voice acting and everything that I was doing. Originally, it's back. Only in my opinion, it's better because the video quality is better and the audio quality is better because it's direct capture. So that playthrough is continuing on DSP Gaming. I've now done 2 live streams of it. And here's the thing, and this is what gets me. If you remember, years ago, people gave me shit. And let me explain. 2 years ago, during this time of year, in fact, it was literally this time of year, these days of the year, I was playing Phoenix Wright Justice for All. I was doing a playthrough of it. And I stopped. And the reason I stopped was for 2 reasons. Number 1, I had played a case that was the most convoluted, I'd have to say awful case I've ever played in the Phoenix Wright series, where there was a bust. When you know what a bust is, it's a statue that's like of the head and shoulders of something. That was a murder weapon that was hidden underneath a wheelchair. Unfortunately, what the game failed to know is that most wheelchairs have an axle that go through them, and it's physically fucking impossible for you to fit a bust under a wheelchair. So there was no way for me to even know what the game was getting at. My voice was getting so tired from doing all the voice acting. It was so drawn out and overblown and just a stupid fucking case. Most people say it's the worst case in Phoenix Wright ever. Like any game ever, it's everyone's least favorite case. It's garbage. But I got through it and I was so tired, right? And I'd actually lost my voice from doing this case. I had completely lost my voice. And I remember after losing my voice, everyone's, are you going to go back and finish? There's one more case in the game. Are you going to go back and finish? And I looked it up, and I found out it's like the second longest case in all of Phoenix Wright. It was like twice as long as the case that I hated. And I was like, how am I going to do this? I can't fucking do this. It's too long. It's too much voice acting. It's too overblown, too overdramatic, too long. And I moved on. The other thing was, there were other games coming out that I wanted to play. I couldn't just drop everything to play Phoenix Wright for weeks on end. So I stopped playing Phoenix Wright Justice for All. And over the past 2 years, so many people, Phil, are you going to play it? Phil, when are you going back to it? Phil, will you ever go back to Phoenix Wright? And I always wanted to, but I never knew what the right time was. 2013, I knew wasn't the right time. For whatever reason, I said, it's not going to be the right time. And finally, here I am 2 years later, complete downtime, no real new games coming out whatsoever. I said, now is the time. And so I've done it. I've started. I've resumed the playthrough this week. And of course, it's hilarious because I'll be honest, from what people are telling me, and the reason I know this is because I haven't looked at the videos at all. They've been live for about a day now. I have not looked at the view totals at all, but people are basically saying, I can't believe how low the views are. People asked for this for 2 years, and now, where are these people? Now, admittedly, in 2 years' time, a lot has changed. I've gone direct capture. I've gone live streaming. There was an anti-DSP campaign in 2013 on YouTube. So there's a lot of reasons why people might have moved on from me. Some people grew up and matured. They don't watch videos of gaming on the internet anymore, or they just don't watch my content anymore. Things change over time. So it may very well be that the audience that wanted to see Phoenix Wright 2 years ago isn't around anymore, or if they are, they're much smaller core audience. So I'm mostly playing this game for myself because I always wanted to beat the game, for fan service for those who have stuck around, and for the sake of saying I went back and I fucking did it. Rather than saying for the rest of my life I quit and I never went back. I went back and I fucking did it. And it's good too. The thing is, I played it for 2 days now. 35 videos so far. Yeah, I know it's a lot of videos. And people are saying I just hit the halfway point. So let's clarify. Over 7 hours of gameplay, and I've only hit the halfway point. So this is a 14-hour-long case. Wow. I mean that. Wow. Now, can you imagine if I had tried to do that 2 years ago when I had just lost my voice and I'd done the rest of the game? That case is too fucking long. Let's face it. And if just from a game development perspective, who wants to spend 14 hours on one single stage of a game? It's fucking way overblown. It's too freaking overdramatic. They should have shortened it. And I can tell you right now, I thought today this could have been the end of the case. And then when people told me you're only halfway, I'm like, you've got to be fucking joking me, So in that regard, I actually do feel I made the right choice 2 years ago. And now I come back, I don't care if anyone watches the damn playthrough. I'm having fun doing it. Today on the stream, we had almost 700 people on the stream at one point, all enjoying the playthrough. And that's all I care about. As long as there's people who are enjoying my content. I already said it. I'll say it again. This is January. This is downtime. This is the time to do this because come the later this year, there'll be 5 million new games. And then people will say, gee, Phil, why didn't you ever go back to Phoenix Wright? Well, I'm busy with new games. This is the downtime when I should be going back and playing these games. All right? And I'm doing it for my enjoyment, and I am enjoying it. I'm going to take a couple days break from it, honestly, right now, because my voice is so strained right now, and especially after the podcast tonight, I know it's going to be even more strained, all right? But that being said, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to continue on with it regardless if anyone fucking watches it. I'm going to keep playing the game, okay? Now, phew. I'm sweating here. The last thing I want to talk about, and then we'll end segment 1, is the last hot topic of the week. This big issue, this controversy that arose. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't done talking about my gaming schedule. Oops. So let me finish this up. I played Phoenix Wright. That's going to continue, not tomorrow and not Saturday. Maybe Sunday or Monday, but not tomorrow or Saturday. Okay, everyone? However, if you missed the stream today, I will be uploading today's videos over the course of tomorrow and maybe Saturday or Sunday, Monday. So you can get caught up. You'll have ample opportunity to get caught up on the Phoenix Wright gameplay if you watch the videos on DSP Gaming. Okay? Tomorrow's plan is as follows. First half of tomorrow will be Dragon Age Origins. I'm going to do a longer stream of Dragon Age Origins. Again, if the internet works. If not, I'll play it offline. The second stream will be Fallout 3. So the return to Fallout 3 Fridays. If the internet works, streaming. If not, I'll do it offline. Saturday right now is up in the air. Now let me explain why. Normally, this is John Rambo. He said, I'm definitely coming. He wants to do Smart Guys. And this week, we wanted to do the WWE Royal Rumble pay-per-view simulation in WWE 14, including the real matches from the show, but also fantasy matches and fun stuff, because the game actually works this year. Now that it's being published by 2K Games, the online gameplay, you can download created wrestlers and stuff. We wanted to go all out like we did a few times ago, all right? Because we didn't simulate, I think, the past 2 pay-per-views. And so, we really want to do it. Here's the problem. If you can believe it, they've forecasted another inch of fucking snow. At least. They're saying at the least you'll get an inch. There's potential for 2 to 4 inches, but it may be next to nothing. So depending on what happens with the weather and whether John wants to trek out here in weather, we'll see what happens with that. I apologize. I can't control the weather. I hate the fucking weather in New England here in the United States. I can't wait to move, which, by the way, I have some updates on that, but I'll get to that in a second. If the weather's good enough, John will be here. If not, it is what it is, and I apologize, everyone, but blame Mother Nature, all right? Blame Mother Nature. And then, of course, continuing on Sunday, Monday, we will have things like Phoenix Wright, things like that have been ongoing. Don't Starve will eventually make a return. And I do want to personally apologize to those of you who've wanted Don't Starve. The reason I haven't played it is because Don't Starve is the kind of game that you kind of need activity and interaction between the stream and the player, because the game doesn't explain anything. So unless I'm going to play the game endlessly for 10 hours a day to learn what every little thing does, which I don't want to fucking do, it's really annoying. But if the stream chat said, oh, Phil, you should make this thing because it actually makes some useful food. Phil, if you plant pine cones, you can have trees grow. So they're teaching me things as I'm playing. And that's what makes Don't Starve fun for me, is the interactivity I'm having with the stream. And I haven't been able to do a second stream in days. It's the first day all week that I've really done a real second stream because my internet's finally fucking working at night. So when I can get the internet working, I'll do it as a second stream. Why second stream? Because Don't Starve is the kind of game that I wouldn't want to play for 4 hours on a tear. It's good in small doses, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's stomachable. If I played it any more than that, I'd probably get bored. So I'm enjoying it how I'm playing it. The next time I could do a second stream, I promise you it'll be Don't Starve, but not tomorrow and not Saturday, okay? Okay. House hunting. So far, so good. Leanna and I have a website for several different areas of the country where we're spanning different listings. We've been reviewing the listings that are available in different areas. And we've been looking at houses and basically saying, this is what we want, this is what we don't want. Oh, look, this is the price range for this is the price range for this. So the house hunt's underway. You probably won't have any major updates until, say, March or April, because we're planning on making a trip, our first trip of the year, to go out and see one of these local areas to see what is it like to live there. What are these houses really like in person? Probably sometime in April. We're not guaranteeing that we want to do it, but we want to do it after the snow has fucking ended in New England. So whenever the snow ends, we'll be traveling to check out potential homes. That's coming up later in the year, and I'm excited about that. And then last but not least, before we move on to the controversial news topic, and then we can end this segment, my website, thekingofhate.com, I am happy to report as of today, I own the website. Thekingofhate.com domain is my legal property. The website is mine. I've purchased it, and it is in the right now in a state of fluctuation and transition. So right now, if you go to the site, thekingofhate.com, it might not work. I know some of you just heard that, oh, I want to go check it out. You type it up, what the hell? It's probably not going to work right now, all right? However, I don't know how long it's going to take to transfer everything over, to get everything going, but once it is over, all right, excuse me, the site's going to be operating much better. I purchased better forum software. It's not the old shit, the MyBB that we had. That's the free stuff. This is professional level stuff. I spent several $100 on this, and it's an ongoing thing where I have to pay more money to have it maintained, but I think it's going to be worth it. In the long run, it's going to look great. Now, the bad news is two things. Number one, all the archived forum data is gone. And I hate to say that. I know there's years and years of stuff, discussions, and ongoing stuff that's been going on the website. Now is the time. It's a dead time of the year. The year just started, so it's not like we're losing a lot of input and stuff. Square one, boom, starting over. Website will be starting over when it relaunches, whenever that's going to be. I'll announce that. So that's one bummer. Number two, everyone will be required to re-register for the site, to make a new account, to put up, a new profile icon, new signature. Everything's going to have to be redone. But it's fine. 2014, I've already said it. It's the year of renewal. It's a year of positive movement. And this is going to be great for everyone. You're going to have an interactive community where you can go and talk with people of like mind about my content, about other stuff. You're going to have constant polls, voting on what your favorite, funniest moments are of the year. All kinds of stuff's going to go on the website. And the biggest thing that I really think is going to drive new membership once the site launches is I'll be announcing and launching my PS4 giveaway, where I'm giving away a brand new PlayStation 4. It's going to be great. And I cannot wait for the launch of the new website and all the new positivity that it's going to bring with it. And I will be giving you guys more information about that shortly because, like I said, right now it's being worked on. And I do want to give a special shout out to Beachy and Hazard, who've both been working on this website today and are now converting. I think Beachy is converting the files over. And once it's all converted, then we can get people back in there and registering. More info on that forthcoming. Now we can talk about the final controversy of the week and end this segment, all right? The final controversy of the week is this big thing where it's come out this week. Oh my God, gaming companies are actually paying YouTubers to play their games and say positive things about them. So basically what it is, it's a PR campaign where it's really guerrilla marketing when you think about it. Where, wow, there are these personalities, these people on YouTube who play video games. We'll pay them behind the scenes and they'll play our games and they'll say good things about them, which is basically promotion for our games. Now, I don't think there's anyone... Excuse me, I just can't stop burping. You know why? Because I'm drinking a seltzer water today. I don't think there's anyone out there who disagrees with promotion. I think that people agree that there should be advertising available, right? Get the word out for a hard-earned product that you put out there. The problem is the way that two particular campaigns supposedly are going about it. Now, up to this point in time, I'll be honest, I made a whole vlog about this, by the way. So if you want to see my full story on this, it's a special vlog that I made on my website, or my YouTube channel, The King of Hate Vlogs. This is the truth between Machinima, Microsoft, and my take on it. Because I know all the details about this behind-the-scenes thing that happened, and I really have an interesting take on it. The weirder controversy is coming in is this. Previously, whenever someone was doing a special promotional campaign for something, two things that weren't present that are present in these new ones. Number one, the person had to publicly disclose that they were making extra money for doing something. So if I was promoting a certain game, or if I was in a certain campaign, I would have to put in the description of my video, this is participation in a certain campaign where I'm making more money or I'm getting something out of this to help out this product. So if someone who's watching the video, if it's your responsibility to read the description and find out, oh, okay, this is really meant to be a promotional video, all right? That's number one. Number two is that up to now, it's been that basically, how can I say this? How can I word this? That you were able to talk about it, or you could say positive stuff, but it wasn't just like you were forced to only say positive stuff. Apparently, this agreement that happened between Machinima and Machinima Partners, and again, I don't know all the details because I wasn't part of it, said that Machinima Partners who signed this would get like a $3 bonus per 1,000 views on any videos they made about Xbox One if they only talked positively about the Xbox One. All right? Now, that's ridiculous. And guys know me. I would never make a video where I say, I'm here to only talk positively about this to make extra money. That's not me. That's not who I am. And I'm legitimate. When you watch my videos, you're going to get the good and the bad. You're going to get the salt and the sugar. You know what I mean? You're going to get everything. You're not just going to get all positive or all negative. You'll get both. And again, my gameplay videos, I've always said, this is the reaction of the common gamer who plays the game. I'm going to rage at some parts. I'm going to love some parts. That's what you get when you watch my content. You get honest gameplay and honest reactions. I'm not one of these clowns who sits there and fakes reactions to, on a face cam to try to make money. So, because I look, oh no, that's scary. Oh, they go to the face cam. Oh, that's not me. And I'm also not one of these guys who, oh, this is the best game I've ever played. Holy shit. Oh, by the way, I'm making tons of money on this video because, I'm talking positive. I would never do that shit. I'm a genuine person, and I always have been. That's why I kind of hold myself to a higher standard, I think, than other gamers when it comes to that kind of stuff on YouTube. Okay? But it's come to light that okay, so there's this one agreement that Machinima Partners were doing this, right? Now, of course, it was completely overblown. The whole thing ended after only $3,000 was paid out, so it wasn't like there was a ridiculous amount of people who even partook in the program. And all this controversy started coming out. Now, here's the thing. Months ago, when the Xbox One launched, there was a similar program. It was $1 extra per 1,000 video views, and it was supposed to be for launch coverage of the Xbox One. Problem was, Machinima didn't send the program out until the middle of the day. Now, if you guys remember, for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I did midnight release streams of both consoles, covered them and upload those videos right away overnight, and they got huge views and huge attention. So, I love that, but I was going to register for this Xbox One program because it said you could just make more money. By the way, that program did not say you must say only positive things about the console, and it forced you to disclose in the description of your video that you were making extra money. So it was completely night and day from this other campaign that just happened that was so controversial. Well, I registered for it, okay, on this website called Pop Tent, but then when I went to put up my video, it gave me an error and said, you can't register this video, it's already live on YouTube. They never mentioned that. They never mentioned that if your video was already live and visible on YouTube and people had watched it, that you couldn't add it. So all my Xbox One day one coverage wasn't eligible for the program, and I said, fuck this stupid program, I'm not doing it, it's a piece of shit, and I never did it. So what happened this week, I came out earlier this week, made this special vlog all about the controversy and how I disagree. I think it's immoral for a company to do a video where they pay someone just to say all positive things about the game. I'm not that kind of person. I would never do it. And of course, the idiot trolls and haters went out there. Oh, but we went to Pop Tent and we saw that Phil registered for this campaign in November. He's a liar. He said he didn't participate. I didn't. I did not participate in this recent campaign in January where you were forced to only say positive things and you basically hid the truth. I wasn't part of that campaign. I signed up for a completely different campaign in November that was for the launch of Xbox One. You disclosed in your videos that you were actually putting this as part of the program. You were not forced to say all positive things. Oh, and by the way, I never went through with it. I registered and I didn't even put one video under the program because it was so much of a fucking pain in my ass. It said my videos weren't even eligible. So again, blatant misinformation. These idiots trying to take a nugget of truth and turn it into some kind of misinformation about me to make me look bad. That's all it is. Don't worry. I know you guys, if you're watching this podcast, let's face it, most of you already give me the benefit of the doubt, and I thank you for that. But, you know, I just had to come out here and say it quickly and clear my name about it, all right? But now, here's the thing. The newest controversy, even since I made that video on Monday, there's a new controversy. It came out in the mainstream media. EA has been paying YouTubers for years to do promotional stuff on their videos, upwards of paying them $10 extra per 1,000 views on a video to promote games. And we're talking games like Need for Speed. We're talking games like Battlefield. Now, I talked about this a year and a half ago. I got wind of it. All right, I got some inside info. I can't disclose where I got the info from. It was a private conversation between myself and a few other YouTubers. But I got inside info that this campaign existed. Now, I didn't get messaged for it, but top YouTubers did. And I'm not just talking top YouTube gamers. I'm talking top YouTubers in general were contacted by EA. And in late 2012, was it 2012? Yes. Late 2012. So you're talking, this is the hardcore gaming season. This is when all the new games come out. This is when everyone's playing the hottest, newest stuff, right? They contacted them and said, drop what you're doing. If you make videos of Battlefield 3, we'll pay you $10 extra per 1,000 views. And everyone, literally, you will see, I challenge you, go to the late 2012, the videos from your top gaming YouTubers, and see who played Battlefield 3. You know who did it. You know who signed up for the program. Because no one was playing. Your Battlefield 3 is from 2011. No one was playing Battlefield 3 in late 2012. And what EA wanted to do was recreate brand awareness because they knew that Battlefield 4 was coming out in 2014. So they said, oh, it's the hardcore gaming season and there's really no one talking about Battlefield. Let's push this campaign so that people will be, you know, oh, Battlefield's coming, you know. And that's what they did. So again, go look. It's their videos are still public. You can find them right now. In late November, December 2012, find who was playing Battlefield 3. Those are the people who play games for money and not because they actually love what they're doing. They treat it as this. And that's how they think about your view, like this. Not that, oh, I'm so happy to share a great experience with you. Thank you so much for making me successful. Nope, this is it. This is what they care about. So that came out this week, and I was like, but I knew this a year and a half ago. I even specifically mentioned it. But, of course, me, oh, I'm small potatoes. If I say something, why believe what Phil says, right? I already knew about this. I'm maybe because I'm a more cynical person, I knew this kind of marketing was going on for quite some time. And so for me to hear that, it's no surprise whatsoever. And really, I really think that these stories are not stories. What it is the mainstream gaming media finally catching up to what the people who were in the know knew all along. But because the mainstream gaming media is so professional, which basically means that when they come into work every morning, they shove their thumb firmly up their fucking ass and then sit down on it like this. I work for IGN. Now they finally get the word of all the shit that's really been going on forever. And it's stupid. So don't get caught up in the drama queen bullshit. But know that I will, when I can, inform you as I can. Earlier this week, I did the special vlog to try to inform everyone and let you know I'm not part of these crazy-ass campaigns. I never will be. If it's legit and it's okay, notify everyone what you're doing. And by the way, you can say whatever you want. You have to say all positive shit about what you're in your video. That's ridiculous to me. I will never do that kind of stuff. I'm an honest guy, and I'm always gonna be, so don't worry about that shit. If I'm ever promoting something, I'll be telling you straight up front that I am, so that you know what's going on, okay? All right. So that is it for current events, everything going on. 51 minutes. We haven't had a frame drop yet. Knock on wood. I'm going to take a break. I'll come back in a few minutes. We're going to do Back in the Day, all about peripherals and my history with peripherals and consoles. It's going to be interesting. You may even hear about a few peripherals you never even heard of, okay? And of course, we're going to do live Skype calls later on in the show. But if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a timestamp. Go right ahead, click on that timestamp, skip right ahead to the next segment. No need to wait. If you're watching this on Twitch, stick in there. I'll be back in a couple minutes, and we'll have it Back in the Day. Very good. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, what is up, everyone? Welcome back. This is segment 2 of episode 2 of Hate Live for, January 23rd, 2014. This is back in the day. This is where I'm going to reminisce on all the belches of the past and the future. Sorry, I just keep drinking the seltzer and it makes me burp. Reminisce on the past, my gaming past, growing up as a gamer, growing up in the gaming culture. And what I have to talk about today is something quite interesting. The history of gaming peripherals, okay? Now, some of you might literally say, I don't even know what that means. Because these things were really big back in the day. Today, not so much, even though you do see them from time to time. They're not not anywhere near as mainstream or popular as they was during the burgeoning days of consoles becoming more commonplace in the family home. But what I want to kind of do is run my history of consoles where I had these different peripherals and stuff, and explain to you what they were, if they even worked, all right, and basically how crazy it was at the time because it was such a new thing. Household gaming was a new thing, and you'd see this thing in the store, this new thing announced for your latest gaming console. Wow, look at that. It looks amazing. And sometimes you take it home, it would be awesome. And sometimes you drop hundreds of dollars on it, and it's a stinking pile of crap. It doesn't even fucking work properly. So let's go through it. First of all, the very first gaming peripheral I ever owned, if you can believe it, was also the gaming console itself. It was Pong. Now, this thing was manufactured in like the 1970s. It was this thing that if I had a box the size of it, I would show you, but I don't really think... Oh, actually, that's probably not good either. Son of a bitch. Oh, here we go. Imagine my iPad. All right, see the size of my iPad? Imagine that, but imagine that it's deep. It's like this deep, okay? And it was hollow, but it was made of plastic, like beige plastic. And all it was, I shit you not, was a trackball and one button. And it was Pong. And what you would do, you would hook this thing into the back of your TV, and your TV would become 2 paddles, a score, and a dot that would go back and forth, a pixel. And you would just use the trackball to go back and forth, control your paddle. You basically press the button to start, and you just do it. And you just play until one person, I think, got like 5 or 7 points or something like that. And that was it. It was that simple. So in that case, it was the game and the gaming peripheral in one. Now, obviously, as game consoles became more mainstream, you had things like the Intellivision, the ColecoVision, the Atari. They all had joysticks, all right? And they were all pretty much some kind of a joystick with a button maybe on the side or on the side. Later on, the Atari 7800 had this really funky one where it was this longish thing with a joystick on top and buttons on the side, and those things broke all the time, all right? But really, when you really want to start talking about gaming peripherals, you have to talk about the NES, because this was the biggest gaming... This is really when gaming became mainstream, when people started calling video games Nintendo games, because Nintendo had become so synonymous with home video games. And the original NES, a lot of people don't realize, over the years, was actually bundled with many different gaming peripherals, some of which were much better than others. And so what I want to do is talk about some of the most classic NES gaming peripherals that I had some experience with. So, the first one, which a lot of you may recognize, a lot of you may not recognize, it's called the NES Advantage. All right? What it was a basic joystick about so big, okay? And this joystick had one, actual joystick on it to move around, and 2 buttons. And then also had start and select. And I believe, if I remember correctly, the Advantage did have the ability to have like a slow-mo as well. I'm not 100% on that. I actually have one, but it's buried in my closet. I didn't feel like digging it out. So, the Advantage was cool because it was if you were in an arcade, a lot of video arcades had arcade cabinets that had Nintendo games in them. Where it was basically the Nintendo game in there. If you lost a certain amount of lives, you had to put money in, and it would give you more lives. You get to continue the game. And they were real Nintendo games, too. I'm not talking, it was like an arcade. No, it was the real Nintendo games you could play in the arcade. But on the arcade, you would play with a joystick and buttons. So really what this was meant to do was emulate the control. If you had played this game in the arcade, then you buy it for your home console. You buy this joystick, and it's supposed to actually be, like emulating the arcade controls. Unfortunately, the thing sucked. The buttons were actually less responsive than buttons on a gamepad. They were thick. They were chubby, thick buttons that you have to push, actually put a lot of effort in to get them to respond. And the stick was horrible. The stick isn't like a normal joy. You know, you buy a joystick today, even a thumbstick on a controller, you get full range of motion. Oh no, this stick was like a fucking square. So there were like blocky corners. It was hard to determine if you wanted to walk forward or walk down forward or what the direction was that you were trying to hold. Now, admittedly, most games didn't need too much crazy ass precision control back then, but it was very hard to even just make your guy sometimes go left or right. It was basically a crappy, really crappy joystick. And a lot of people complained about it and said, why was this so expensive? Because it was. It's actually quite expensive at the time. If I remember correctly, it was about, I think, just under $100. And so people would shell out a ton of money for this thing, bring it home, just to find out that it's actually easier to play Nintendo games on their regular controller. Wow. Now, a controller that they did release that was actually good, I forget what it's called, so you're going to have to forgive me, but there was a smaller controller that they made for the NES, and it was actually kind of rounded. In fact, it's actually very similar, I'd say, to the design of modern controllers, where it has like rounded grips. And instead of a D-pad, it had some kind of if I remember correctly, certain models it was red, certain models it was orange, like a pressure pad for your thumb to control the game. But the big thing about this controller was that it had turbo. So this was like the first turbo controller for NES, where if you're playing a shooter, you don't have to just keep rapidly pressing the button like an asshole, to try to get it to work. You could just hold the button down and it would manually do turbo. Okay? So this was the very first controller like that. I forget what the name of it was. Now, the NES had many peripherals that were packaged in with the console itself over the years. One was actually called the Power Pad. If you don't know what that is, it was actually a flat mat, and it was big, too. If I remember correctly, it was like maybe 4 or 5 feet tall lengthwise, and it would have colored, if you believe this, colored circles on it, so some were blue and some were red. And what you'd be expected to do is, if you're going to play a game like Track and Field, which was one of the games that was bundled in with the NES when it was new, you would have to put this thing on the floor, all right? You put it on the floor, and you have to stand on the pads, and then as you're playing the game, the thing would say, all right, start running. You'd have to go nuts, like, on the pads like this. You go, So I can't show you, obviously, because with my feet, but it was nuts. It was literally like your 2 feet would have to be going like this on the circles. And it would make the guy run in Track and Field. And then if you wanted to jump, you would go, I have to jump over a hurdle. You would literally jump in real life. You go, hop, like this. And it would supposedly make your guy jump in Track and Field. Now, the bummer about this pad is that there really wasn't a use for it. Outside of Track and Field, there were very few games that actually used the Power Pad. So a lot of people who didn't buy the Nintendo bundle went out and bought it separately just to find out you couldn't use it for anything else. And it really didn't even work that well, and a lot of people complained that the thing was so flimsy, because it was just a flimsy plastic pad with some sensors inside. You jump on that thing a couple hundred times, you're probably going to break a sensor. And that undoubtedly is what ended up happening. People started breaking them, and they got worn out. The paint would come off of them. So really, it wasn't that great of a thing, especially, it's one of those short-sighted things. Oh, it'll sell consoles if it has this crazy peripheral, and then after, a year, people are like, why the fuck did I ever want this thing? Now, the one peripheral that undoubtedly is synonymous with Nintendo, okay, the one peripheral that when you think the one thing that you plug into your Nintendo, and you're going to use it as some kind of an accessory for a game, is not the Power Glove, because I know some of you were going to say that. We're going to get to that. But the one that's synonymous with all of it was the Laser Zapper. That's right. Originally colored in gray and black, the Laser Zapper was made exclusively for 2 games, Duck Hunt, and I forget, it was something Alley. I forget the other name. And these games, even though they were very limited in what that gun could be used, people loved it because it worked with any TV. Now, keep in mind, back then we weren't talking about flat screens. Those do not work with flat screens. They only work with classic tube TVs. Here's how the technology worked. It was quite ingenious, actually, all right? there was a light sensor in the zapper. And what you would do, you would aim at your TV, at whatever you're trying to shoot on your TV, right? And pull the trigger. When you pulled the trigger, the Nintendo would send the signal to your television that wherever the target is that you're supposed to be hitting would become a white square, and everything else for one frame of animation would become black. So basically, for one frame of animation, everything on the screen disappears except for one square that you should be aiming at. At that time, the light sensor would shoot out of the gun and search your television for the white square. And if it found it, because you were pointed at it, you'd get credit for the shot. If it didn't find it, well, that means you missed. And it was ingenious. It was basically says it would make any TV work with this thing. Now, keep in mind, that's different than now. Now things have changed a lot. The technology doesn't work anymore. Keep in mind that it was trying to find this flashing signal on a tube, which was glass and light being emanated behind it, versus LED and LCD TVs. This technology does not work with anymore. But it was such a cool thing. You could play Duck Hunt, where the ducks are flying. You're trying to get multiple ducks at once. You miss the dog, just whoo, laughs at you to be a fucking prick, and you flip out. Oh my god, fuck this stupid dog. And like I said, the other game, which I never played, but I saw people play it before, something Alley. I keep forgetting what it's called. It might be Hogan's Alley, where it's just different criminals. It was a shooter. You had to shoot criminals and stuff that were coming after you. And then later on, there were more games that it supported. I believe there was all kinds of arcade shooters were ported to the NES, and those were the ones that worked with the light gun. Primarily, like I said, it was really just for Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley, but it was a neat peripheral. And out of all the peripherals for the NES, I'd say it was probably the absolute best one. So now, because I talked about the absolute best, now, of course, I want to talk about the absolute worst, which by far, of any accessory ever made for the NES, the Power Glove was such a piece of shit. I cannot believe how bad that thing was, yet how much hype it got because of a movie. And let's talk about that. The Power Glove, if you didn't experience it in person, you've never seen one in person, is basically a huge glove made out of plastic and fabric for your hand with fucking sensors all over it, alright? It then leads into a gauntlet-like device that connects to your forearm, on which is essentially a Nintendo gamepad with lots of extra buttons and inputs. Also, the Power Glove came with these sensors. These weighted sensors that you were supposed to put on the corners of your television screen. You know, one here, one here. I think it was like 3 of them. Like one, it was either 1 up top and 2 on bottom, or 2 up top and 1 on the bottom. I forget. And what these sensors would do is they would literally use depth perception of light and the sensors in the fingers of the Power Glove to determine where your hand was and try to maneuver figure out your hand, how it would control what was going on the screen. There was one game ever that worked well with Power Glove. It was the game that came with it, and I forget what it was called. It was one where you threw balls at this back wall, and the ball would bounce, and sometimes little enemies would come by. You would just throw the ball and bounce the ball off of it and destroy the enemy. And it was almost like, if I remember correctly, it was like a 3D version of Breakout. If any of you ever played Breakout, that game where you're just a paddle and a ball and you're hitting blocks, and the blocks break as the ball hits them. It was like a 3-dimensional version of that where you were throwing a ball at the wall, and destroying the wall like that. But the problem with the Power Glove was that no one developed games to work with the Power Glove. The Power Glove kind of came out after the fact of people already developing the best games, and what they tried to do was, let's try to fudge it and make it so that the Power Glove can kind of control certain games. So trying to use the Power Glove to play a standard Nintendo game was a living nightmare. You try to play Mario, you can't get him to jump. You're doing what the game tells you. You can't get him to jump. You're trying to play another game, you can't get him to attack. And essentially what the Power Glove was an incredibly expensive, non-functional controller. If you wanted to cripple yourself when playing NES games, you would buy the Power Glove. But the only reason anyone wanted it is because a movie came out in the late 1980s called The Wizard. It was a movie starring Fred Savage and 2 other child actors, and the premise of The Wizard was actually stolen. Not really stolen, because I think they paid for the rights. It was a song by The Who. The song Pinball Wizard. It's about a small kid who's supposed to be blind, right? but he plays pinball. People say he's the best pinball player they've ever seen. He can play for hours, never loses, gets high scores on every pinball machine he ever goes to, and that's the theme of the song. He's a pinball wizard. It has to be a trick because he can't see, but he's a master of pinball. How could it possibly be possible? So this game was supposed to be about a kid who lost his parents. And so, I don't even know technically if that's what it was, but something with the kid was messed up somehow. He's like supposed to be like slow, maybe even autistic or something. I'm not positive. And he's amazing at video games. They find out this kid can play video games and he's like, he whoops ass at them. No matter what game he plays. Now, of course, that's so different. Pinball is the same premise. You got to keep the ball in play. You hit the flippers. You learn the little ins and outs. Video games are a wide gamut and variety of things, so the game was very implausible. But this kid could play any video game and immediately pick it up. And so the game was the movie was the story of how this kid was going cross country with a young Fred Savage, and they were trying to get to California. When they finally get to California, it's the national championships of Nintendo, and this is with the movie where they debuted Super Mario Brothers 3, and kids, thousands of kids across America said, "We want Super Mario 3, mommy," but the game wasn't even out yet. And it was a mess. But the thing is, the biggest thing that was promoted in this movie was the Power Glove. There was this kid who was supposed to be like the current reigning national champion. And he takes out this fucking briefcase, right? Metal briefcase. He opens it up, and inside is custom-made foam that's storing this Power Glove. And he puts it on. His name was Lucas. And he puts it on, he turns, and he goes, "I love the Power Glove. It's so bad." And it became this hilarious movie line that just like people who knew how bad the Power Glove was thought it was so hilarious because you knew the whole movie was fucking marketing for Nintendo and the Power Glove. But if you actually watch the movie back today, it's quite funny, especially some of the overacting. This is like when they go to register for the Nintendo Nationals, this guy comes out and he goes, "Oi, are you here to play Ninja Gaiden? Hoi!" And it's like so fucking weird. It's such a weird movie, but it's absolutely funny. So, that's the Power Glove. Piece of shit. Moving on. For the Super NES era, I actually own two major peripherals for the Super NES. One was a joystick. And the only reason this joystick came out was because Street Fighter II had been ported to the Super NES. And people were screaming for a joystick. They said, "It played with a joystick in arcades. We want a joystick to play this game on. Please make a joystick." So someone finally did. And it was a piece of shit. It was horrible. The buttons, the best way that I can compare the buttons. Do you know the candy Spree? Anyone know the candy Spree? How it's like a little circular medallion of candy and it almost has like a plastic-like shell that's really made of sugar. That's what the buttons were like. It was like pushing Spree into this fucking joystick, but they were extremely, like the springs inside were extremely bouncy. So unlike the arcade where, oh, the button's very responsive, you tap it, you get, here you'd have to like push the button way the fuck in to get it to register. It was just horrible. And then the joystick too. The joystick was crap. You couldn't really even do dragon punches. You definitely couldn't do a spinning pile driver with this joystick. It was blocky. It was non-responsive. It was nothing like an American joystick style from the arcades. So this joystick was a complete cash-in shill for people who thought they were going to get arcade-like controls for home. They didn't. In fact, that's what it said on the box. Bring the arcade home. You bring it home, you go to play. It's fucking terrible. And it was a ripoff. Guess how much that joystick cost? You won't believe it. $150. I'm not kidding. $150. Yes. The price of, joysticks today. Today you can buy a joystick for $150. That's what it cost back then. Keep in mind, money was worth a lot more back then. So imagine spending $150 on a joystick that doesn't work at all. It was horrible, and I remember it was two major things I wanted for Christmas because I already gotten Street Fighter months earlier when it came out. I wanted this joystick, and I wanted like one or two games, and I was like, fuck. When I got this joystick, I was like, I could have got 2-3 other games in place of this joystick. It's a piece of crap. And I remember like beating the shit out of it later on when it didn't work, punching the fuck out of it. It was ridiculous. Now, the other peripheral that I had for the Super NES, much better. This one was called the Super Scope 6. If you owned an NES like me, you probably know what I'm talking about. This was they took the concept of the light gun that we had talked about on the NES and they expanded upon it. And what they did, they made a large gun, All right, it was probably, I'd even say it was like this. It's wider than the camera's range. What you would do, you would put it on your shoulder like a bazooka. That's what it was supposed to be, like a bazooka. And you would look through this little eye hole and use it to aim, okay? And you would fire. And depending on what game you were playing, it would do different things. The game itself, I mean, the Super Scope itself was amazing. It came with 3 games. 3 games were built into the cartridge for the Super Scope. And they were good. One of them was, there were missiles that were all being shot from different distances in front of you from like right to left, and you had to lead your shot with the Super Scope and fire your shots to try to take out these missiles so that they didn't make it across the screen. Another one was like a puzzle game with like these little animals and stuff, and you had to shoot the animals, right? And so that was kind of fun, trying to shoot little monsters and animals on the screen. And I'll be honest, for the life of me, I can't freaking remember what the third game was, but I'm absolutely sure that the thing had 3 games. So, it was a lot of fun. It was absolutely a lot of fun, just out of the box. And I have to say, it was pricey. I think I remember that was almost $100. But that I'd say was worth it. I used to play that with my dad. We'd sit there after school, and we, for maybe a half hour, we each take turns at each game and see if we can get a little bit better. He really liked the missile game, and he actually got pretty good at it. And then later on, what happened was that there was actually a game that came out that was really neat. And I don't remember what the name of it was, okay? But what it was mechs. These cool-looking mechs. And they would actually, it would be like your first-person perspective. So it was almost like a first-person shooter. And these mechs would attack with various, they would be shooting missiles at you. They'd be firing laser beams and bullets at you. And you would have to dodge by like holding the scope or even blocking the scope in certain instances so you don't take damage. But then you could aim precision-wise and you could fire at their weak points. And it was cool. As you shot these mechs, pieces of them would blow off. So, you shot the shoulder enough, the shoulder blows off, and now he lost the ability to use maybe the shoulder cannon that he had on there. And there were special shots that you could charge up. And it was really neat. It was really well implemented. And I was surprised because I remember they actually did make a sequel to that mech game. And there were here and there a few other good Super Scope games. And for the most part, it was implemented pretty well. And so I don't understand. It kind of faded away after maybe a year and a half. And I don't know why, because I actually thought it was fully functional. It was one of the best peripherals for console that I had ever used. And you know what it is? I think it's because these things have their time to shine. And once you it's a neat thing that I have this weird peripheral that I can use. And, every once in a while it's going to die out. It's not going to be something that's popular forever. And I think that's what happened, especially as people started to move on from the Super NES. They wanted to move on to other stuff. That's what happened. So, that was pretty much the peripherals that I had for the Super NES. Now, when you move on to, I want to say the Genesis, of course the Genesis had peripherals as well. The most popular, by far, the most popular peripheral for the Genesis was the 6-button gamepad, because unlike the Super NES controller, the Super NES controller had 6 buttons by default. Okay, so you could use the Super NES controller out of the box to play Street Fighter 2. It wasn't like playing in the arcades, but at least you had the 6 buttons. The Genesis controller only had 3. So when you're playing any fighting game, including Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, any of those games that have more than 3 buttons, it was a nightmare to play on the Genesis. So they came out with the 6-button controller for Genesis, where, 3 top buttons, 3 bottom buttons, and that would be basically how you play the fighting games with it, and it was like essential. Everyone ran out and bought them. There were third-party ones, there were first-party ones. They sold like hotcakes because it was like essential. If you wanted to play fighting games on the Genesis, you had to get a 6-button controller, all right? But I remember they had their own gun too. I think it was called like the Menacer or something like that. I'm not going to get too much into detail of that. But I remember the dumbest peripheral that I think I've ever seen for any console ever, and I think most people would agree here, all right, is this weird console. And it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. Basically what it was, I forget what it's called too because it was so weird, but it would it was a bar of sensors that you would place on the ground around you in a ring. All right, in a ring. And just to give you some, I'm trying to think, to give you some perspective. How could I do this? All right. Let's say this napkin is their floor. So you'd stand here, and around you would be this strip of plastic sensors on the floor. And what you would do is you would stand up like this, and you would wave your arms to hit different sensors around you, and they would do different things. Now, again, I have to say the major problem when it came to these silly peripherals, some people they think it's called the Sega Activator. The reason that these peripherals were so silly is because No one could develop game. What game are you going to develop for the Genesis where you wave your arms around you in a circle like this to control it? It's ridiculous. It's like preposterous, right? So it makes absolutely no fucking sense. And it's really, really, really incredibly dumb. And I don't know what they were thinking. It failed miserably. The people that bought it basically wasted their money. It's so dumb. And that's what I mean. There's so many of these weird peripherals that they made. And usually the thing was, most of them weren't even licensed. Like, I don't think the activator was licensed by Sega. It was probably made by some third-party company who claimed that you can get it to work with all the games. And, of course, it never really worked. And they used to have all this shit all the time. Third-party peripherals and accessories. You don't really see that too much. Maybe every once in a while today you see, like, Mad Catz makes a generic controller or a joystick. But you don't see a lot of that anymore. It's almost like you buy the name brand controller, that's it. You don't see people trying to do weird gimmick shit anymore. Although, then again, maybe I'm off base here because, I mean, just recently we had the Wii. Oh, yes, I'm playing my Wii. Ooh, the whole controller for Wii is a stupid peripheral gimmick. It wasn't the games that sold the Wii. It was this thing. It sold it to the common person who doesn't play games because they wanted to act like an asshole, right? And we just had, what, the PS Move, which I have over here, which I'm never going to use again. I might as well just fucking throw it out. And by the way, I probably will fucking throw it out when I move because I don't want to take the PS Move with me. It's a piece of crap. Same thing with the Kinect and everything else. These are all stupid gimmicks. These come and go. It's an attempt to sell some kind of accessorized crap and make extra money on a console. That's pretty much the experience that I had with them. As I moved into, say, the PlayStation years and the Dreamcast years, there really weren't as many. Like I said, they started to fall out of favor. Although, later on, Nintendo continued, oh, look, bongos. Donkey Kong bongo congos and shit. And there's some weird Samba de Amigo fucking shakers that you'll play on one game and throw them in the trash. And, of course, oh my god, the biggest, most infamous abuse of peripherals. Rock Band and Guitar Hero. Oh my god. New Guitar Hero game comes out, buy a whole new fucking guitar. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Rock Band came out, here's the drums. Oh, they don't fucking work. Rock Band 2's out. Oh, they're a little bit better, but you should get this, get the microphone, get the... How many landfills are full of that shit now? Now that those games are out of business, that they basically put themselves out of business by completely oversaturating the market with too many peripherals and too many games too fast. How many hundreds of thousands or millions of units of those were manufactured and are now tossed in the trash somewhere? That's what I want to know, because guess what? That's where mine is, in the fucking trash where it belongs, because there are no guitar games to play anymore. There are few. There's some like Rocksmith, or that game's, it's not really like Guitar Hero. It's trying to actually teach you how to play a real guitar. That's a different thing. But I think that was really like the end. That was the death of it. Rock Band, people after that, they said, we see now what's happening. It's a fad. After the fad ends, no one wants this shit. We don't want this shit anymore. And I really hope, and I say this now, we're in a new generation of consoles, right? And I really fucking hope that in this generation of consoles that we don't get some new fad and now the PS4 and the Xbox One have this new peripheral. No, don't do it. Don't do it. We don't need the fucking peripheral bullshit. I wonder if I still have the thing over here. Hold on. Wonder if I still have it. I used to have it right here. Here it is. We don't need this, right? We don't need these fucking stupid... Oh, I'm playing the game, man. Yeah, I'm playing the fucking game. We don't need this. We just want to play games with a fucking controller. Stop selling us shit. I completely forgot I even fucking had it over there. Seriously, that's how long it's been since I used it. So, alright. So that is it for Back in the Day. I hope you enjoyed this segment and found it informative. I'm now going to take the final break of the podcast. When we come back, live Skype calls. And I've already said this earlier on. Two things this time around, guys. Number one, I'm going to try to limit the length of the calls to maybe around 5 minutes each, if I can at all. And number two, I'm going to try to answer calls from new people. I don't want to keep answering calls from the same people. So I will ask, if you had the pleasure of in the past week calling into one of my shows and getting your opinion aired on the air, please do not call again, because I'd like to get some new callers, okay? All right, everyone, going on break. I'll be back. We'll finish up Hate Live. Thanks for watching. I'll be right back. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to the timestamp, give it a click. You'll skip right ahead to the final segment. Okay, everyone, welcome back to the final segment. Like I said, I'm going to try to limit these Skype calls to a certain amount of time. I'm going to try to have newer people call in. One thing, though, I just realized I idiotically did not test Skype before I started this podcast, so I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it. So I'm going to be able to... What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over to my other screen, right? I'm going to open up Skype. And when I open it up, I want you guys in the stream chat to tell me if you can hear it booting. If you hear boo, that means that it's working. Okay, let's see if you can hear it. Because I'll be able to hear it, but you might not be able to. See, I heard it boot up, but I don't know if you did. And don't start calling yet, because I'm currently offline. I have not made it available yet. I just want to see if you guys could hear that noise. Most people say no. Some people say I heard it, though. You didn't hear it. Most people are saying they didn't hear it. Shit. It worked last time. Hold on a second. All right, let me try something new. Let me get rid of this. Let me try. I can't see it. I re-added it. So maybe now you can hear it. Whoa. It may be really low. Let's try a call. Let's try a call, everybody. I'm now going to set myself to online. If you want to send me a call, send it to DarksidePhil and or darksidephil@hotmail.com. I'm not exactly sure how it works. Do not send me a contact request. I'm not taking new contacts, but I am taking calls. So let's see if it works. Give me a call here on Skype if you'd like to call into the show. All right, let me see. I'm going to try this one. Hello. How's it going? Very good. Let's give it a second. First of all, who am I speaking with tonight? Awesome. Good to hear from you, Cody. Let's see if anyone on the stream can hear you. Unfortunately, the stream is delayed about 30 seconds, so I have to see if anyone can hear you here. I don't know if they can. Oh, my lord. Cannot hear. I don't understand, because I've done this 3 times in the past week. I swear to God, every time I do it, it's different. Like, I don't know how to get this to consistently work and have them be able to hear you. I'm wondering if it's an issue that your volume is so low that they just can't hear you at all, or if it's that they're not, Skype isn't working for some reason. You know what I mean? What I can do is this. Let's try something else here. Cody, give me a second here. I'm gonna restart Skype. I'm gonna see if that fixes it. If not, we're gonna have to do some finagling with the stream. But call me. I'll let you know. Call me right back, because I am gonna answer your call. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. All right. So I was talking. That was Cody. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't hear him. What I'm gonna do is try to restart Skype and see if that fixes it. It might or it might not. I don't know. I hope it does. This worked the other day. All right, trying again. My Skype volume is maxed out in my volume levels here. So is my Xsplit volume. Everything is maxed out. Did anyone hear Skype open that time? I don't know. It's so delayed. It's so delayed I can't even tell if you guys are hearing anything. Worst case scenario, I got to restart the stream. I do not know. I'm waiting for people to say if they heard anything. Oh my goodness. I swear to God, the same setup I'm using right now, I used on the vlog that I did earlier this week, and it worked fine. I swear to God, like, there's no reason for me to lie, so I don't know why it's not taking it. It very well could be. I'll try re-adding Skype video again. Look, that's already working. Whoa, now that's a weird glitch. It glitched out and is not even showing your picture now. Oh my goodness. Well, the only thing I could think of is restarting Xsplit. Unfortunately, if I restart Xsplit, that means I would have to actually turn off the stream and turn off the video, which I don't want to do because obviously this is a solid, one video podcast. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can think of, but there really isn't right now. What I may have to do is just take down the stream. If I just take down the stream and I go to Windows XP Sound, I may be able to get it to work. All right, buddy. I'm gonna give you a call. I'm gonna give you a call back. Well, give me a call back when you see me pop online again. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. What a nightmare. This is what I mean. I'm trying to get this technology to work, and sometimes it just doesn't want to work. So what I'm gonna do, everyone, if you're watching this on YouTube, no worries. You don't have to do anything. Just stick there. I'm gonna take the sheet down off the internet and bring it right back up. I'm gonna check this. There's one box that I think will fix this issue. And hopefully this will fix everything, all right? All right. Let's see here. Actually, you know what? No, if I'm recording, I can't even fix that. I can't even fix that setting. Son of a bitch. I'm trying to think of a workaround for this, and it's just not coming to mind. Why can't they hear Skype? You should be able to, and you were able to last time that I did one of these. When I did the exact same setup that I'm doing right now, it could be heard in XSplit, and now it can't be. This pisses me off, man. This pisses me off. I'm not sure what else to do. This sucks. It worked a week ago. See, here's where things go weird. And I'll even give you guys perspective, right? Here's what happened. A week ago, what I did, there's a box in XSplit. The box is called Use Windows XP Sound, okay? And when you do that, when you use that box that says Use Windows XP Sound, what happens is it'll actually take all the audio from your PC and pump it through my Xsplit, which is my streaming program here, right? And what happens is you'll be able to hear anything. So you'll be able to hear Skype. You'll be able to hear if another program opens up. If I'm playing a game, you'll hear the audio from that stuff. Okay? Now, unfortunately, I don't know what happened, right? I did this first podcast a week ago, and people said the audio wasn't synced. But then when I watched the video back, the audio was synced to the webcam. So I don't know what people were talking about. So then on Friday of last week, I filmed a special podcast or vlog regarding this whole Nintendo situation and the negative Nintendo news that had happened. And as I was filming this, I realized my voice was not synced with the webcam, and I couldn't figure out why. It's the same webcam I'm using. I'm plugging it into the same USB adapter. For some reason, the video was being delayed. Even though it wasn't delayed on Thursday, it was delayed on Friday. Which makes no sense, right? Makes no logical sense at all. So here I am sitting there trying to figure out, I don't understand, like, what is going on? So what I ended up doing, I added delay. I added a 250 millisecond delay to my audio of my microphone. Here it is. To get the audio in sync with my video. So right now you can see the audio is in sync with my video here on the podcast, right? And so then I said, well, if I do that, if I do a 250 millisecond delay, I can't use Windows XP Sound, because if you use Windows XP Sound, it uses all live audio, including the mic. So I unchecked that box. And so I unchecked that box, and I opened Skype, and people told me they could hear. Oh, yes, we could hear on the stream. We could hear Skype. No problem. We hear everything, right? So then I did that on both on Friday of last week and then even Monday of this week. I did an impromptu vlog regarding the whole controversy with Machinima and Microsoft and all that. So I'm like, okay, right? Then all of a sudden, now it doesn't work again. That makes no sense. I've changed nothing. I've changed absolutely nothing, right? Now, some people here are saying, why don't I use the Skype on the Xbox One? Well, I can't because right now I'm only 250 milliseconds delayed. The Xbox One would be delayed, I believe it's 2,150 milliseconds. It's delayed a lot more than this. So I don't know. I can't figure this out right now. I don't know if I'm going to get Skype to work, and I honestly don't know why it's not working. According to the computer, it was making noise. I don't know why Xsplit isn't capturing the Skype audio like it did the past 2 times. People are saying Windows may be muted. No, it's not. I have my volume open right here. In fact, here, hold on. That I can show you guys. Watch. See that? So, why is Skype muted? Well, watch. I'll even open Skype, and if I open Skype, what should happen is that it should put Skype here, and it should show you the volume level for Skype. I'll show you. Which I'll move Skype out of the way. So there you go. There's Skype. There's Skype's volume level. I'm going to go offline so people don't try to call me when they can't hear me. And there it is. Look, maxed out. So why the fuck can't you hear Skype? You know what I mean? You can hear Windows sounds. You can hear everything else, but you can't hear Skype for some reason. Some people are saying check Skype's audio settings. Well, I never changed them. So how could it have worked earlier this week and not work now when I never changed the settings? By the way, I can't even see the fucking settings because it's too far away. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. It's set up properly. I don't know, guys. Well, looks like our callers are a bust. Now, here's the dilemma that I'm facing, right? Here's the dilemma that I'm facing, everybody. The dilemma that I'm facing is I can't not put delay on my mic. I have to put the delay on my mic to sync the webcam with my mic. It just has to because the webcam's delayed about 250 milliseconds. That has to happen in future podcasts that I do, right? No matter what. I can't do that if I enable WinXP sound, but it seems like I can't hear Skype unless I enable WinXP sound. So, I don't know what else to do. Oh, people are saying that my intros were silent? Really? Hold on a minute. Guys, I'm going to play this. You let me know if you can hear it, okay? Can you guys hear this? Can you guys hear that? No. You guys couldn't hear that because I heard it. Oh my God. I heard it through my headphones. So it obviously is playing. How did you guys not hear that? It's actually in XSplit. Wow. Well, we obviously need some more tuning. I don't know what else to do. It worked. It worked. It literally worked. Last week's podcast, it worked. And it worked for the 2 other vlog videos. So why on earth can't I get it to work now? I have no clue. Oh, it is what it is, right? I'm obviously frustrated, but, I don't know. Makes absolutely no sense because here it is again. I could hear it through my speakers perfectly fine. How is it muted for you? That does not make any sense at all. None. 0 cents. That makes no sense. Wow. Well, alright, enough of this. It is what it is. People are giving me all kinds of advice now that probably isn't going to work. Saying go to recording devices. Hold on. Go to recording devices. And someone said click on stereo mix. What the fuck is that? Give me a second. Ugh, gotta move over here. There is no stereo mix. Yeah, there is none, so I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know, but anyway, sorry everybody. Obviously, I didn't mean to let you down there. I wanted to have a call-in segment, and we didn't get it, and it sucks. And I don't know what I'm going to do now for future call-in segments because, like I said, I can't use Windows XP sound because the camera's not synced for whatever reason. More than likely, it's the USB ports on my computer are shit because they weren't installed properly. But we won't get into that. I don't know. I don't know what else to say or do. I guess that's going to be it. This really sucks. This really sucks. It's not going to work. Alright, so that's going to be, we're almost out of time anyway, so I guess that'll be it for this episode of the Hate Live podcast. Sorry there were no call-ins. A big, epic fail tonight. What I'll have to do is test it, and I'm not going to test it now, but maybe, another day in the afternoon or something when I have time, I'll fuck around with it a little bit and test it. Maybe even tomorrow. I'll fuck around with it a little bit with people calling in and see if we can get the audio to be heard. I have no clue why it's not working, alright? So anyway, for the Hate Live podcast, I want to say thank you, everyone, for watching. This is DSP signing off. I'll see you in a week. In a week, there will be another Hate Live. We'll cover all current events. Hopefully, I'll have the calls fixed by then. I'll probably do another Back in the Day segment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Hate Live.